I'm Marci.
And I'm Noah.
We grew up watching Disney Channel, and every few months a new Disney Channel original movie, or DCOM, would be released.
Since we were kids, we would love to get snacks on those nights and enjoy watching new, sometimes relatable movies on our favorite channel.
Well, we're not really kids anymore, but we decided we wanted to revisit our younger selves by re-watching all 110 DCOMs, and we want you to join us for the nostalgia.
So every Friday, we're sharing our thoughts and feelings on the DCOM of the week. So join us, the DCOM kids, as we discuss Tru Confessions. Good enough.
Clap.
I
break,
definitely
good.
messed up my little line, but it's okay. We'd probably do better just not to acknowledge it.
Right?
We'd probably just
continue.
roll into the episode from there. Well,
we're like, yes, we did it.
Exactly. We'll see if that ever happens. But I brought my glasses today, so we'll see if that helps with my reading abilities. Probably not, but I kind of need clean. But the cloth is over there, so it's
that's far.
just too far to reach it, but close enough that I could see it.
Yes.
Right on. Well, welcome everybody to DCOM Kids. As we mentioned in the intro, we are watching. We rewatched Tru Confessions. This week, I rewatched it like 20 minutes ago. I need to get better about watching these ahead of time. It is so bad. But nevertheless, we are here.
Yes.
I don't know what to say.
Go ahead and start with this lovely intro.
With the little
here.
thing? Okay, I've talked about it on the main podcast several times, and I think I've mentioned it on here once or twice.
Yes.
But I listen to several podcasts. I don't really ever listen to music anymore. It's pretty much podcasts for me. And I was listening to a podcast from the Diz Unlimited, which is like the primary one that I do.
Yeah.
It's a podcast network that was like built around or from a travel agency called the Diz Unlimited Travel.
Okay.
Used to infinity beyond travel, by the way, guys. But they have a bunch of podcasts, and I like to listen to their podcasts, right? And on one of their episodes, they were talking about that clip that I think you sent me, where Ryan Merriman is like, I'm basically DOG Troy Bolton, right?
Yes.
And they're talking about it, and like, yeah, Ryan Merriman, because he was in the movie where he turns into a leprechaun. It's like one of the only Disney Channel movies to dive into like St. Patrick's Day and stuff.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, it's such a good movie, The 13th Year. And I'm like, guys.
Oh my God.
Plot points, correct. Main character, correct. Title, completely wrong. Like, they said it so confidently like several times talking about The 13th Year when Ryan Merriman turns into a leprechaun. And I'm like, guys, stop. If they just listen to this podcast, they would know. That movie is, of course, Luck of the Irish. The 13th Year is the movie about the kid who turns into a mermaid.
So it is about transformation.
Which is like, I was considering that, and I was like, it's kind of understandable.
Kind of close.
Not really forgivable, in my opinion.
No, absolutely not.
It is what it is, though. But we're not here to talk about that.
No.
We're here to talk about Tru Confessions, which was released in 2002. This is our third movie in 2002.
Yes.
And I could have swore that this was another movie that was based on a true story, but there is absolutely no indication that it was.
Based on a novel.
Based on a novel.
Yes, it says it at the very beginning. It says based on the novel. And I can't remember.
But I don't think that novel was based on a true story, was it?
I don't think so.
Because then if the novel was, then the movie was. And they didn't say that. It just said the novel.
It just said the novel.
Very, very deep movie.
Yeah.
Like low-key super deep for a DCOM.
Very, yeah.
But of course, filmed in the normal early 2000s Disney method where it is a person, a teenager, who is narrating their life to you for some reason.
It's like, they just loved narration.
They did. And, it's fine for now, but like I can feel it getting old rather quickly.
Yeah.
And I think Get a Clue is probably the last one on our list that does that. I think from there on, well, no, actually, because You Wish is coming up, and that one is also very documentary style. Yeah,
You Wish is very close to this, but it's like it's
super similar,
different storyline.
In that aspect, it's very similar. But
yes,
anywhoozuma, what's it? This film was written. Oh, I forgot to double check her pronunciation.
I would say
Janet
Tashian,
and Stu Krieger.
Stu's back.
It's Stu again. Stu, of course, is coming back after directing both the Xenon movies we've seen so far, The Phantom of the Megaplex, Smart House, and The Poof Point. Mm-hmm. So this guy is kind of like becoming the king of DCOMs.
Yes.
Which is really interesting, and I'm curious to see how many more he gets before we're done. Mm-hmm. But yeah, of course, the cast here, our lead man, Shia LaBeouf, played Eddie Walker.
Then we have Clara Bryant, who played Trudy Walker.
Then William Francis McGuire played Bob.
Nicole Dicker played Denise.
Crap, is that Marie or just Mare? Mare?
Mare?
Yeah, Mare Winningham. Played Ginny. Sorry, I switched away from my camera too early.
Jennifer Foster played Dee Dee.
Was I gonna go? I was gonna skip. Then Yanni Gelman played Billy.
Kevin Duhaney played Jake.
Yeah, and that was where we were gonna wrap that. Perfect. Excellent ending to that.
Yes.
I like the solid period. This film was directed by Paul Hoen, who also directed Luck of the Irish.
Oh, fancy that you mentioned him.
Yeah. Isn't that funny?
That is funny. Next is the music was curated for this movie by Mason Daring.
Our cinematographer was Rudolf Blachek. I looked up 4 different ways how to pronounce it, and they were consistently that it was Blachek.
Okay, sure. And then it was edited by Cindy Parasoto.
Yeah. I was going to put the pronunciation for that one in, but then after I saw the pronunciation, I was like, no, that's exactly how you'd say it. Yeah. Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
All right. Our Disney Plus summary. Again, folks, this is pulled directly off Disney Plus and the way that they summarize the film. Trudy, or Tru Walker, thought she had the worst life ever, with a father who was always working, a mother who never took her side, and a mentally impaired brother. But when Tru gets a chance to follow her dream and star in a TV show, she finds out what it really means to be a family.
It's an interesting way of seeing that. Because she doesn't star. It's not for her to star in it. It's for her to host.
Which is the same thing.
Yeah, I guess.
In that case, I would say this, depending on what kind of show they're talking about.
I mean, like, I guess
if it's like a clip show, Yeah,
that makes sense.
I mean, yeah. Anyway.
Anyway.
We're going to dive on into our scene by scene, led off by Marci.
Our story opens to a montage of Trudy and her twin brother Eddie as they were kids growing up. The montage ends with Tru filming her 2 best friends, Jake and Denise, trying to convince them they make a beautiful couple. After some banter, we learn Tru's ambition to be a TV producer.
I missed an opportunity there to say Tru's true ambition.
That would have been good. The trio makes their way back home, further discussing the ease of life on TV. Arriving at the Walkers' home, Tru is greeted by her brother Eddie, who has taken it upon himself to be Tru's personal paparazzi. Tru, however, is not impressed and fights the camera away from Eddie, who is left wondering what he did wrong.
After explaining he was only trying to be funny, Tru begrudgingly accepts Eddie's apology. But after he walks away to tend to his homework, Tru expresses her true feelings. I even spelled true wrong because I typed it the other way so many times. Which leads to a cutaway in her imagination where her mother agrees to increase her allowance. But back in reality, she decides to jump onto her video journal where she gives us a look into her family life. Later, Eddie is sitting at the table when Tru tells him they won't be needing spoons. Of course, this upsets Eddie as his teacher taught him the correct way to set the table. Spoon, knife, fork. After getting into a brief argument with her mother, Tru grabs her camera and reminds her future self to cast someone else as her mother in the TV show about her life.
At the dinner table, Eddie recounts his paparazzi to their father before dropping a large glass bowl of broccoli.
Okay, I got to pause there.
Yeah.
Who puts broccoli in a glass bowl? What was that?
Especially knowing like that Eddie has
This is the way that they're talking in this is clearly not the first time.
All the time.
And according to the dad, it's every single meal.
And like later on at the end when you see the video,
yeah, and
he Eddie does spill something, so it's like
he says we can't get through one meal.
And like I understand they want him to be independent, but also like help him out. If you know he's gonna drop it,
like let's not put it in glass.
Set the bowl down next to him and then let him serve the broccoli.
Yeah, like just put it in plastic. Y'all don't have to be that bougie. Right? I know he's a brain surgeon, and they're very clearly off.
Very well off,
as we'll talk about later, or I can just talk about now because I find it insane that the window Tru's window in her bedroom points into a window into Eddie's room. Bedroom. Yeah. A window points into a window. How big of a house do you have to have for a window to point into another window? That's crazy. But anyway, we know you're bougie and all that, but like, come on.
But like,
just use plastic, ceramic, even not ceramic. What's the word?
What is it?
Can't think of it.
What is it?
It's, polycarbonate. Different material. Just use a different material. Just something more durable. Yeah, don't use glass, especially for broccoli. Come on.
Yeah.
Continue, sorry.
Although their father is upset at first, he reassures Eddie that someday soon they will go through a meal without dropping anything. After dinner, Tru is at her desk and recalls a science lesson where they learned that baby sharks sometimes attack each other in the womb. After questioning if Eddie's developmental disability was because she attacked him in their mother's womb, Tru takes to her computer and writes a letter to special needs support website asking for help to make him more comfortable.
After crawling into bed, Tru dreams about her and Eddie as kids playing in a field. The next day at school, Tru is gushing to Denise about a junior boy who she believes must be in love with her. Jake enters the scene announcing he has major news, but never actually shares it. As the bell rings, Jake and Denise head off for homeroom while Tru wanders to check in on Eddie in his class. As she is about to leave for homeroom, she bumps into Billy, the junior guy from earlier, where she attempts to be cool but is totally unsuccessful. This plunges us into another cutaway fantasy where Tru and Billy star in an I Love Lucy parody, which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
And we then jump back into reality again where Tru is creepily filming Billy play basketball.
Yeah, I completely forgot about that.
I did too.
I was like, oh.
I was like, dude, that's weird.
Yeah. Jake, Denise, and Eddie arrive to have lunch, and Jake finally reveals his news. WUTV is holding a contest for kids to host their own TV show. Rushing into the house later that day to share the news with her mother, who is less than convinced Tru has a good chance. The next day, we're back at school, and Tru seeks help from her teacher, Mr. Taylor, who tells her not to worry about being clever, just be real. This idea clearly takes to Tru, and we are sent to Ginny's office, where she has discovered Tru's question on the special needs support site, and she laments about her relationship with Tru not being what it once was.
At home that afternoon, Tru is complaining about how having a boy twin takes all the fun out of being a twin. They can't swap dates, they can't take each other's tests, or even fool their mom and dad. She's being sarcastic, of course. I think. Then suddenly, Eddie runs in dressed as a doctor like their dad, and decides to perform broken brain surgery on a watermelon. While playing along and having fun, Dad walks in and is upset by Eddie using an antique surgical tool that was gifted to him by his father. Eddie leaves the room in tears, and his father has come down rather hard on him. Later that night, Ginny and Bob fight about not pushing Eddie to be more normal and how Ginny coddles him just too much.
In Tru's dream state, we are brought in deeper to the memory of her and Eddie when they were kids. Tru is calling out for Eddie, who is no longer following her in the field. As we exit the dream and return to reality, Eddie is laying on his bedroom floor and is calling out to Tru. Bob enters and helps Eddie into his bed and comforts him back to sleep. The next morning, Bob is teaching Eddie how to play catch. As Eddie sends the ball sailing over Bob's head, he yells, "Strike one!" Bob utters a good throw to Eddie, plunging us into another montage of Eddie throwing the ball to Bob, who struggles to catch any of them. After a while, and some visible frustration, Bob decides their time would be better spent getting ice cream rather than playing catch.
Back at home again, Tru opens the special needs support site and is greeted with several responses to her question. The first is rather negative from an elderly lady, calling out Tru for being the one who has the problem, as there is no cure for... I didn't write that full thought out. As there is no cure for Eddie. And she just needs to deepen her sense of faith. The second response was a biker with a son who also has a mental disability, and he suggests that she seek help from the school board. And finally, a third response encouraging Tru that she is already doing more than most just by showing that she cares. Signed, Dee Dee. And is it just me, or was it incredibly obvious that that was her mom? Just immediately.
I mean, not to my
Spoiler
younger
alert.
self, but now, yes.
Okay, because I literally...
Because the last thing you see is her mom sees the message.
Right.
And then...
It looks like she just exits out.
Yeah.
But what she's actually doing is sending a message. But they don't make that clear. They don't point that out. Yeah. And I honestly didn't link those two things until later on, where I was like,
right.
Oh, she did just literally have it pulled. Like, I knew she looked at it.
Yeah.
But I didn't, whatever.
Yeah. Another day, the Fab Four are riding the ferry, and Tru thinks more about her entry into the TV contest. As they exit the ferry, Jake is clearly flirting with Denise, but that's probably not important. While trying to come up with an idea for her entry... Wait.
Yeah, just take out the as there and just move on, because I forgot to
She watches Eddie unlock his bike. Inspiration suddenly strikes, and she runs back onto the ferry to conduct research, leaving Jake and Denise to ensure Eddie gets home safely.
When Tru finally arrives back home, she has several large books and asks Bob to ask one of his friends if she can interview him for their project. Eddie comes rolling through the dining room on rollerblades, and the doorbell rings. Who else but Billy is waiting outside the door with the groceries? Their grocery delivery. As Tru helps him bring in the order, Eddie enters once again on his rollerblades and knocks a bag out of Tru's hands. Chaos ensues, ending in Billy leaving in a hurry and Tru sending a load of carrots down the garbage disposal. Later at dinner, the family is waiting for Tru, who enters and serves everyone a paper carrot that she has diligently created.
Later that night, Tru decides to reach out once again to Dee Dee to confess she may have misjudged Eddie, as he seems totally content, and perhaps she spent more time worrying about him and not enough time wondering how he felt. We jump into yet another montage of Tru... Sorry.
You're good.
Of Tru throughout various stages of creating her entry for the contest, ending in her falling asleep in class and falling out of her desk. Sometime later at home, Tru premieres her documentary to Jake and Denise. There seems to be too much information and not enough entertainment, as both of Tru's friends struggle to stay awake. Seeking honest opinions, they break the news that, although good information, it is too complex.
Tru later shows her mom the film and receives a similar reaction to that of her friends. Ginny attempts to encourage Tru, telling her people want to see where she is in this whole thing, not just how her brother acts. Instead of taking the suggestion and running with it, Tru crashes out, calling herself a failure. We later get to see Tru reading a story to Eddie. After reading, she asks Eddie what he thinks of the film, and he suggests it needs more car crashes. The two laugh, and suddenly Eddie asks Tru why she doesn't play with him anymore. After realizing she maybe hasn't been the best sister to him, she turns to her E-friend, Dee Dee. That was a period. E-friend Dee Dee. She wants to know what to do, fearing getting too personal with the project would result in humiliation.
The next morning, we are arriving at Tru and Eddie's soccer game. The twins are having so much fun, and Tru comments on the twin telepathy he and Eddie share.
It's supposed to be her.
Her and Eddie share. She kicks the ball to him and he scores a goal. Later on, Tru takes a look at Dee Dee's response, encouraging her that her mom meant that great art takes risks and she should put herself out there. While telling Denise all about her interaction with Dee Dee, she takes an opportunity to get some footage of Eddie playing by the lake. This sparks another idea. After returning home, she dives into a collection of old home videos of her interactions with Eddie.
We fast forward another day or two, and the family, except Bob, are having a beach day. While trying to get his kite to fly, Eddie determines that the kite must be stupid, and he repeats a word he heard a kid call him at school, which breaks Tru's heart. While reviewing the footage, Tru decides she can't show anyone and tells Ginny her friend Dee Dee is the only one who gets her. This clearly hurts Ginny's feelings, as she was just about to confess that she is in fact Dee Dee. The time to submit the final film has come. Denise and Tru are performing some kind of dark magic on the tape to improve her chances of winning.
After arriving home and sharing with Ginny that she submitted the film, Tru finally realizes that she is in fact Dee Dee. Tru leaves in a huff, feeling betrayed. We jump ahead to the family's outing at the state fair. Tru is hunting around for Eddie, who she thought was on the merry-go-round, but instead finds him walking by a lake wearing a hat that some guys from school gave him. She confronts them, but the ringleader is, of course, Billy, who says some really nasty crap. I'm not going to repeat it because it was really mean.
Yeah.
The jerk sits on the railing of the bridge and says some more stupid stuff, so Tru does what all of us were wanting to do, and pushes him into the water like a boss. The family leaves the fair, and on the drive home, Tru struggles with all of the thoughts and feelings she is experiencing.
Okay, I'm just going to pop this in here real quick.
Go for it.
Are you also having trouble reading Tru as Tru and not like mentally just saying stew?
Yeah.
Because I've done that like 5 times where I almost say stew and it's because
like,
of Stu Krieger.
Yeah.
I'm
Nope.
like, come on.
I am.
Anyway, back at home, Tru deletes Billy from a photo and slumps on her bed in satisfaction. A moment later, Ginny enters the room seeking forgiveness for hiding behind the alias of Dee Dee. This moment, Tru explains why they rushed out of the fair so fast, and she slams the door in her mother's face. Fast forwarding again, Tru is on the phone asking when the winner for the contest will be announced. And the person on the other end of the call must have said something along the lines of, "We'll tell you when we tell you," because this is evidently not the first time today or this hour that she is called asking the same question.
We jump again to the library where Tru is studying with Jake while Eddie finishes reading a book. He asks to look for another book asks to look for another book, and while picking one out, accidentally drops one inside of an elevator. Actually, he drops it and then someone kicks it into the elevator.
Ah, okay.
That's
See, I was
happens.
typing and kind of missed that, and I looked up and it was in the elevator, and I was like, okay.
He accidentally drops when someone kicks it into an elevator. He enters the elevator to pick up the book, but a few people board and he is sent down to a lower level. He exits the elevator and is now lost and cannot find Tru. A heart-wrenching search... Did you mean search or screech?
Search.
Okay. Wrenching search breaks out, ending in a librarian guy being a total jerk and suggesting that Tru keeps him outside. Jake stands up for them and the guy gives him a dirty look before walking away. As Tru calms Eddie down, he expresses his desire to no longer be different. Tru comforts him and explains that he is amazing and she loves him for who he is.
Arriving home from school, Ginny informs Tru that a letter is waiting for her by the telephone from the TV station, and she won, surprising nobody. But of course, she informs her mother that if she is made fun of for the personal content, that it is squarely on her head. At school, the principal announces the good news to the whole school, and her classmates react rather underwhelmingly. Billy looks rather sheepish, and Tru seems to be feeling anxious. Jumping ahead to that night, Tru, Jake, Denise, and Ginny settle in for the premiere, and Eddie walks in dressed as a movie star. As he takes his seat, Bob calls to let Tru know that he isn't going to make it home in time. Then it was time. The film is introduced, and we dive into A Day in the Life by Trudy Walker. The film follows a day of all the ups and downs of Eddie's life, the fun-filled moments, the twins being downright goofy, and his pure sense of wonder.
While we see the bright spots, we also get a glimpse into the darker times, the hard moments and the deeply personal ones. Despite those hard situations, Eddie reminds Tru of what is truly important in life. This submerges us into what I can only assume is the final montage of the movie. A heartwarming set of clips of Eddie being Eddie and having a blast living his best life. At the end, Bob talks to a coworker, realizing he has been more distant than he realized. But we cut back to Tru's imagination, unsure what to expect as she walks into school the next day. Prepared for the worst, everyone is extremely supportive and proud of her work. Well, everyone except Billy. Back at home, Bob wonders why he wasn't in the film more. Tru explains that if she had added him more, it wouldn't have painted him in a very good light. He requests she show him the footage, and, well...
It becomes even more clear to Bob that he hasn't been there for them the way they need him. The realization that all he's done is lose his temper and yell at Tru and Eddie. Tru insists that his job is demanding, and it's not his fault, because Eddie loves him no matter what, and all Eddie needs is to be loved back. Just before Tru shuts off her computer, she rewatches a clip of her. She rewatches a clip she filmed early on when she wanted to recast someone else as her mother, but this time she clocks her mother's expression. In this moment, Tru realizes she hasn't been much better to her mom than Bob has been to Eddie. She decides to confront her mom while she is watering the garden, and she finally apologizes for shutting her out. She reminisces in her life growing up with Eddie, but one day she'll go on to college and get married, and Eddie likely won't. She breaks down, and her mom comforts her. As we wind down, Tru recounts Dad's efforts to be around more and keep his cool, and Tru is putting in more effort to being more open with her mom, and Eddie gets to keep being fun. Eddie gets to keep being the fun-loving, goofy, wonderful guy he is.
Aww.
Tru Confessions.
Tru Confessions. This is probably one of the first Disney movies to make me cry.
Oh my gosh.
Like,
I don't know that I actually cried, but like
I teared up.
I was definitely getting misty.
Yeah.
Especially because when I write these things, there's a lot of times where I'm rewriting stuff, like going back and having to retype something, or rewatch something before I type it because I'm like, did I get that right? And so there's a couple moments that I had to watch a couple times, but stop.
Like, okay, stop. Like the scene in the library always gets me.
That one always gets me. I think the one that cuts me the deepest is like when he's on the beach with the kite.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like I have to say it.
Yes.
I mean, I probably don't have to. I guess you never have to, but yeah. I don't know.
But like, I think everybody knows the
cut.
word.
Yeah.
You know, like.
Yeah. It's rough to hear him say that.
Yeah.
Especially, like, because you kind of, like, you know that he knows that people think that's what he is.
Yeah.
But, like, he's also, like, I don't know. Like, he obviously knows it's not good.
Yeah. Like, he understands what the word means.
Yeah.
And he understands that that's how people see him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, like, when he's frustrated, of course, like, yeah.
It hurts.
It does. Yeah.
But anyway.
It's a harsh word.
What is your favorite scene in this movie?
So many.
Aside from everything between the beginning and the end.
I would say the title sequence at the beginning. No. I really do like the beginning part when they get home and he's like, paparazzi.
I know that one. That moment is like probably the one that sticks out the most in my memory for this.
Yeah.
I honestly think one of my favorite scenes is probably the library scene. Just because like it is the most raw.
Yeah.
like unfiltered, like this kid is freaked out.
Yeah.
And all he's done is gone down a couple floors, but like that really kind of gives you a look into like he doesn't understand that all he has to do is get back on the elevator and go back up. You know? And so like you get that glimpse into like what it's like, and it's like I'm not qualified to talk on this stuff really, and it's like I feel weird sometimes.
No, but I get it.
But it's like
it
makes you have a different appreciation, I think, for people that are going through this, people themselves, people's families, and stuff. And so I don't know why, but I love that scene so much because it's done so well. And I mean, just overall, like Shia LaBeouf's performance is incredible.
This whole movie, like,
what a good actor.
For everybody in this movie, like from Shia LaBeouf all the way through.
They're all everyone's fantastic. Like, don't get me wrong.
Their
but
mom, how she's navigating being a mom to two different kids.
Yeah.
And like
she has to cater to Eddie, but she also has to make sure that she's not alienating Tru. And so like that's rough. Yeah. And then Dad, who's like he's got a career, and it's like obviously it's an important profession. It's a demanding job. Like and it's just like, so many different moving pieces. They put it together really well.
They did. Yeah. I would just say this whole movie is my favorite scene.
Yeah. Do you have a scene you don't like? I'm not saying it's a bad scene. It's just like the one scene where you're like, didn't really do much for me. It's not a bad scene. It just maybe,
Not that I can personally think of. I think, no, not for me.
Okay. I have one.
Okay.
And again, it's not that it's a bad scene. It's not that it's just like
what did that do for the story kind of thing? Yeah.
Didn't really do much.
It didn't move the story along.
Except I guess in the end it kind of tied it back in, but it's the scene where they're the whole sequence when they're at the soccer game. Cuz it's the only part of the movie that has any information like that you learn that they play soccer in that moment.
Yeah.
And you learn that actually Eddie is pretty okay at it.
Yeah.
In that moment, which is cool to see, but like that's all that scene does.
Yeah.
Except until you get to the very end and they're rewatching the tape and he keeps rewinding the part where he gets the goal.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like you could have done that with a lot of different parts throughout the movie.
Yeah.
So
but
I didn't feel like it was strictly necessary.
I don't think it. Honest. Yeah. I don't think it was like
it didn't hurt anything being in there,
no.
but
but it was like
it's
just like and they play soccer together.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I did love the line where their coach was like, "How's my star player?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "Are you gonna use your hands?
Are you gonna remember?
To not use your hands?" And Eddie was like, "I'll try." He's like, "That's all I can ask." Like
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
I really like that coach.
Yeah.
Like because he 100% gets it, and he's like, "This kid's here having fun," and that also probably helps that it doesn't seem like it's a school soccer thing. It's like a club soccer, which is like there's like no pressure. Like we're here to have fun. This exists to have fun.
Yeah.
And they won. They did win. So it's like great.
And I bet some of the people on the other team were also like, I don't think it was like
I could see that
exclusive thing. I think it was like an all inclusive club thing.
Yeah, I get that. I could totally get on board with that. I can see that.
I think Tru did it like to have an activity to do with Eddie.
I think so. Like, and maybe that's what it exists for.
Yeah. Yeah. To like keep siblings together, like have siblings play games and stuff.
Exactly.
Together. Yeah.
Who knows? I don't know. We didn't get a whole lot of information out of it. We're speculating a lot.
Yeah. But
still cool.
I loved it.
Right on. We have actually pre-assigned a rating for this movie because there's one line in the movie where I was just like, we're going to relate the rating to the movie. Yeah. So this becomes our third or fourth movie. Probably fourth, I think.
Probably fourth.
It becomes our fourth movie to break out of the 10-star or 5-star grouping. Yes. And this is a 5-5.
5-5.
Relating, of course, to the paper carrots that Tru makes early in the movie. I just thought it was funny. Yeah. Because like her mom's like fake eating it. And she's like, kind of flat, a little dry. 5-5. And I'm like, that's our rating for today.
That's our rating.
I love it when the movie can rate itself. And I mean, it's a fantastic movie, so it deserves a 5 anyway. We'll just give it the extra 5.5 for comedy reasons.
And I will admit, it wasn't until this last time that I watched the movie that I realized it was paper carrots. I thought she just like found a carrot and like thinly sliced 4 perfectly sliced carrots.
I love it. That's pretty funny. Yes. Nah, that's not what they did.
But yes, it was like this last time watching it, I was like, oh, that is paper.
Yeah. Right on. Well, that sorts me out. You all squared away?
Oh, yeah.
Right on. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us today on DCOM Kids. I've been Noah, and this has been Marci. We will be next week too. Yes. We are available on all major podcast platforms, of course, as well as a video version is available on YouTube. You can find the audio only version by picking, Spotify, not Instagram. They don't do podcasts. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, and iHeart Podcasts. Searching for DCOM Kids, and then if you're looking for the video version, we're just on YouTube at Noah Parker _channel on YouTube. That's where we do all of our stuff. Like all of our video content goes on one spot. The audio only podcast is the only place that has its own home. You can also find our Instagram, which involves this and the mainstream content and other thing, at Noah Parker's World of Wonder on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Next week, Marci and I are going to be rewatching and diving into Get a Clue. I knew it. So close. Yes. And that film stars Lindsay Lohan, which is going to be it's going to be fun. Yeah. I was like, my brain is slowly realizing that she has done at least 3 Disney movies. I think this is the only DCOM. I don't think the other 2 are DCOMs, because the other one is Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen, which I'm pretty sure is not a DCOM, but it is Disney.
It is Disney, but it's not.
And Freaky Friday is definitely not a DCOM.
Freaky Friday, and I believe...
Is there another one?
Let me double check this real quick.
Ooh, The Parent Trap might be Disney.
I'm not thinking of The Parent Trap.
Oh, me either. Because that's not it.
And this might not be Disney, but I believe it is. Yes, she also starred in Life Size with Tyra Banks.
Oh, yes.
That was one of her first
I forgot
Disney.
About that one.
Yeah.
Wonder why. It's like I don't play with Barbies or anything, so it wouldn't intrigue me at all. I'm pretty sure The Parent Trap's not Disney. It might be Touchstone.
Is Walt Disney Pictures.
Okay, I guess it is.
All right.
Well,
so Lindsay Lohan has done a lot of Disney, actually.
Yeah, Lindsay Lohan, and they're doing Freakier Friday, so there's yet another one.
Freakier Friday, yes.
Right on. Well, join us next week, guys, for our rediscussion after rewatching.
Our rediscussion after rewatching.
Our rediscussion. Join us for Get a Clue next week. Yes. And until then, my dear, dear friends, let the wonder take hold.